So you get stung if you look along the stem. You'll see those little stingers sticking up. Do you see that?
Oh yeah.
Those are little hypodermic needles. They're silica. They're actually made of glass. Keep looking up right now. They're made of glass, and when you touch them, they inject you with chemicals. So there's 4 chemicals in here that they inject you with, and you will get stung. I encourage you to actually touch it and get stung. It's not going to kill you. You'll feel what a sting is. You will get stung here when you're in the garden by stinging nettles sometime. But when you get stung with stinging nettle, when it's injecting you with 4 things. One of them is formic acid. Formic acid is an acid that's found in ants. If you've ever accidentally eaten an ant and it got really hot, that's formic acid. So that's one of the things that's in there. The other thing is histamine. So histamine is produced when you have an allergy, and histamine makes your eyes get all runny and you get all swollen. Histamine causes hives or a rash of allergy. And that's why you'll notice that it gets kind of red where you get stung. You'll see these little welts come up. The other 2 things that it's injecting you with, one of them is called serotonin. Have you ever heard of serotonin?
It relaxes you.
Exactly. It's a neurotransmitter. It's a chemical that your brain produces. It's an inhibitory, calming neurotransmitter. It's one of the most important chemicals that our brain produces because it relaxes us, as you've said. So serotonin is what's being injected into your body. The other chemical that it produces is acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is the primary stimulatory neurotransmitter. It wakes up the brain. Acetylcholine is what allows us to remember things. As we get older, people lose their memory. People get, Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's specifically affects the cells in the brain that produce acetylcholine. When you're getting stung by a nettle, it's injecting you with the 2 chemicals that our brain produces that make us as complex as we are, that allow us to think and allow us to process mood and emotion. And it's injecting us. It's sending signals to our nervous system. It's really incredibly cool. We tend to think that as humans, we are the ones that create these really complex chemicals. Acetylcholine, we would never think that a plant would produce acetylcholine. That's why we are as smart as we are. This plant is producing it and it's injecting it into you every time you go by. It's not enough to change the levels in your brain. It's just a tiny little amount, but it's there. So nettles, that stinging that you get, there are some larger ones that get really, really, really bad. If you put your hands in there and get stung, it actually will cause a decrease in inflammation and pain with arthritis. I have very bad arthritis in my hands and my neck and my knees and my feet. So it helps to really reduce the arthritis. It's another reason why I allow myself to get stung by it every time I see it. It's very good for pain, very good for increasing range of motion in stiff joints. And there is a therapy that people do if they have like a joint, like the shoulder has been damaged and they can't move it. They can only have like range of motion. They can only do this. They take big branches, like these big branches of the nettle, and they take their shirt off and they beat themselves. Oh, I can even do it through this. And they beat the joint, and so it's stinging them. It's injecting into those. And after they do that, they're all stung. I can feel it actually through my skin. But their range of motion increases, and it stays that way for a very long time. So it's used. That's actually a therapy that people use for joint problems and for pain. It hurts for a little bit afterwards. The sting lasts for about 2 or 3 hours, and then it goes away. But it's really cool. Very high in calcium, very high in magnesium, very high in silica. One of the most nourishing plants to drink is a tea. If you dry it or you cook it, it doesn't sting you anymore, and it's a very good vegetable. It tastes like spinach. So you can put it into soup, you can put it into any kind of dish that you cook that you would have greens in, and it's really good and really, really good for you. Extremely good for you. It strengthens the hair, it strengthens the nails, it strengthens the bones. It's wonderful. Yeah, so that's stinging nettle. It is a weed, but it's one of our most valued weeds. Okay, here's another weed. probably seen this. If you grew up in Southern California, you've seen this all over the place. You know this one? This is sometimes called sour grass. Let's see another. There's a lot of it around here. It's called yellow wood sorrel. And take a little piece of it and eat it. If you like sour things, if you don't like sour, don't. Here. Here. It's really good. It's not medicinal, it's just yummy.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Mm-hmm. They're really, really good. So it's just nice. It's nice when you're working in the garden, you get really, really hot. Sour things cool us down. So.
Es como limón, ¿no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's yellow wood sorrel. That's very good. Okay, we'll quickly go over to this cuticle and then I think we're done.